Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha Television. You're watching Big Picture with me, Vishal Dahiya, and today we will talk about road safety and global goals 2030. Now, according to WHO's most recent global status report on road safety, approximately 1.35 million lives are lost every year due to road traffic accidents, and the injuries caused by such accidents are now the leading cause of death for the age group of 5 to 29 years. More than half of these road traffic deaths occur among pedestrians, cyclists and motorcyclists. Now, ministers and senior officials from more than 100 countries will meet in Stockholm for third Global Ministerial Conference on Road Safety on 19th and 20th February. Their objective is to share the expertise and discuss new steps to at least halve the road accident deaths and injuries by 2030, which is in line with the global targets agreed in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So what needs to be done to bring down the number of road accident deaths and injuries, and how can the road safety goals 2030 be achieved? For more on this, we're joined by a distinguished panel of guests in the studio today. Let me first introduce the guests to you, beginning with Mr. A.P. Bahadur, former Chief Engineer, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. We also have with us Mr. S.B. Singh, Senior Fellow from Indian Foundation of Transport Research and Training, and Dr. S. Velumurugan, Senior Principal Scientist, CRI. And we're also joined by my colleague here, Urmi Goswami, Assistant Editor from Economic Times, somebody who keeps a tab on the developments in the transport sector as well. So let me begin with you, Mr. Bahadur, and let's try and understand for the viewers to make it easier for them to understand as well. What exactly consists of the global goals for road safety with respect to the 2030 target, and what is it that is expected to be discussed and the outcome in terms of the Stockholm Ministerial Conference?
You see, the genesis of all this thing is that in year 2010, United Nations recognized the menace of the road safety in such a manner that there was a resolution, and there was a sustainable development goals identified at that point of time. Some part of that sustainable development goal, that was 3 and 11, that related to road safety issues. And then subsequently, sometimes in 2000, and at that time, United Nations had also brought out some action plan and to be declared as 2011 to 20 as a decade of action for road safety. And they also came out with the guidelines also by 5 pillars to deal with road safety issues. Subsequently, in 2017, some target for road safety were also identified, which is about 12, which mainly relate to action plan and drunken driving, speed reduction and helmet wearing, pedestrian safety, etc., etc., etc. Now, they recently only in 2018, they have also come out with some performance indicators also. So, expectedly, the conference which is going to be taking place would be discussing in terms of those indicators, what actions have been taken in different countries, where India would also be coming out. Now, coming back to India, it's not that we have not taken actions, we have taken actions, but I think we have yet to really bring out the real outcome which is expected of it in terms of reduction of the fatalities.
Yeah, because one of the reports WHO's Global Report on Road Safety 2018 still puts India at number 1 in terms of accident deaths.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes, because our fatalities have been increasing. Sometimes in year 2000, around 2000, there were about 77,000 fatalities, whereas now it is 150,000 fatalities, which is almost double. And another area of concern is that there is a term called severity index. That means fatalities per 100 accidents. That is increasing. So that means we need to look into the way we are designing and constructing the roads. Because all those countries which have much better safety record, they recognize as way back as in 1950s that it is the road infrastructure. Human is bound to commit mistakes. It is road infrastructure which has to cope up with the shortcomings and failings. And that is why they have been talking and building actually the roads in terms of forgiving roads. So we are cautious on these issues, but unfortunately we are yet to catch up a lot.
Okay, so road design is one aspect. I'll come back to you, Mr. Bahadur. Let me bring in Mr. Singh here. Mr. Singh, apart from the road design, which Mr. Bahadur is talking about, and other aspects as well, what are the key areas which you believe should be the focus areas if we need to go ahead and achieve these targets and bring down not only the injuries but also the accidental deaths as well?
You see, we as India representative in Brasilia 5 years back, we committed that in 5 years will be 50% of the accidents will be reduced in India. And when we see the result, I think we are back to square one. So now we have gone to Stockholm, Sweden to come up with a new plan and new commitment over there. The issues in India, the efforts which are done, first are piecemeal. Second, the interdepartmental coordinations are not there. As Mr. Bahadur has talked of the road design, I am talking of the traffic signaling is very, and signages are very bigger issues. If you are on a highway, so often you are led to a different lane, and so often you hit up the common median, So well, in cities, lighting of the and towns is purely limited to 5-6 metro cities. We think that India is 5-6 metro cities. Here if we do something, it catches the imagination of media, and we have done everything for the road safety. Road safety, that India is growing, is a country under construction, and in that more cities have come up where traffic management is a major issue.
Specifically tier 2 and tier 3 cities.
2 cities. And there we are finding that traffic situation is much worse than Delhi. May it be Surat, may it be Cuttack, may it be Coimbatore. I am talking different geographical areas. The traffic management is going bad to worse. So today the deaths are 1.5 lakh, 1,50,000 deaths are there. But what more is hurting us is that the crippling injuries are increasing even more than that. A crippled person at a home post accident is far bigger liability to the society and himself and to the family. And today we have to see that if we commit to the international community, we go to the international forums, say that we will bring it down to 50%. And what we have achieved? In 2019, we passed a bill, motor vehicle amendment bill, and the entire focus is that the penalty has been increased multiple times, and we are thinking that penalties are panacea to road safety. It is not happening that way. Road accidents, if you see, only other day.
But Mr. Singh, the deterrent also has to be there in terms of, for the citizens to go ahead and follow those rules, because you're speaking about traffic signals, signages, traffic management, apart from the authorities, the public also will have to contribute out there.
Only public will contribute, that is way of awareness only. The penalty, if you have increased, after that bill was passed in August last year. In September 1st it was notified. In last 6 months, what has been the outcome? Has the deterrent worked or not is more important. My saying that there should be deterrent is not the issue here.
Okay.
We have to see whether the deterrents are working or not, because penalty is not a deterrent or a panacea to road safety.
Okay.
This is a one aspect of it. There are multifaceted requirements which have to be done, and being part of, on my left is road engineer and on the road builder is CRRI. They know the road issues, We are talking of handling the manpower on the road, handling these vehicles on the road, and then planning such a manner where over a period of time you are tapering off the chances of accidents.
Okay. So it has to be a consolidated effort and looking at all aspects. Now, since we started with the road design, let me bring in the gentleman from CRRI, Senior Principal Scientist, Dr. S. Will Murugan. Dr. Murugan, from the design perspective, and as Mr. Bahadur pointed out, those nations which are doing well in terms of road safety, they seem to have caught on to this aspect of ensuring that the road design is flawless, and that will then ensure or translate into road safety. How far are we successful in that, and what needs to be done?
Yeah, in this regard, if you try to see, like as was already pointed out by other eminent speakers, say for example, there is a model concession agreement was put in place way back in 2009 itself, and subsequently they made it mandatory for all these BOT projects, that is called build, operate and transfer projects. For that, it's made mandatory that you need to undergo a process of road safety auditing. That means that you have to, if any road is taken up for any expansion, say for example from a 2-lane to a 4-lane divided carriageway or a 4-lane to a 6-lane divided carriageway, it need to, the designs which are put in place has to be thoroughly audited before it is put on the ground. So that has become a mandatory requirement, and till the road is approved for finally to be open for commercial operations. So that is one such segment where it has really played a significant role in terms of safety, whatever the safety parameters which need to be in place has to be done by an independent team of people who are not involved in the design. They have to go, a team has to be there to do the auditing, and that audit recommendation has to be in place before the road is open for any public use. That way, for the BOT projects, and they call HAM projects these days, so wherein that the government also contributes, there also this modality is in place. But in the case of EPC projects where the government itself is funding, there is some sort of law is there, wherein you are not basically the auditing is done by the contractor himself, will fix the person to audit it. There he or she can do based on his whims and fancies to fix an auditor to suit his requirement. There that flaw has to be corrected. In that case, the engineering deficiencies can be largely taken care of. For I specifically talk here because of the intercity projects, because there, as you know it, on national highways, state highways and expressways contribute for 60% of the fatalities. So that way government is not, whatever commitment is being done by the government way back in 2011 or now 2020, let us be positive about it. By 2030, if these parameters are fully met, there is a scope for by 2030, and if not 50%, we may end up 25% reduction can happen.
We need to go ahead and put our best foot forward in terms of both all the agencies involved there as well. And bring Urmi here. Urmi, you heard all the gentlemen here talking about different aspects, be it the road design or the way traffic is being managed or the public awareness aspect as well. But from your experience and the way you have seen this entire sector developing in the last few years, have we been very diligent about ensuring that various parameters of road safety are put in place before a road is open or even after the road is open?
No, we haven't. And, a simple fact of how seriously we take road safety, despite the fact that police departments in Delhi and in many other cities have this road safety weekend, is the fact that it took us multiple tries before we actually got the Motor Vehicles Amendment Act passed. And it was only after in last year that it was passed, where not just stiff penalties, the issue of road design, about manufacturers and their culpability, their liability for flaws in automobiles, the kind of help that or kind of relaxation that's required or comfort that's required for good Samaritans to come up and help in the case of an accident instead of being hassled. All this only got addressed last year when the bill was finally passed and signed into law. I think one problem that comes to mind is that when we talk about roads and road safety, we think in terms of vehicles on the road. But I think it's time for us to talk about roads and road safety in terms of mobility. After all, why do you have the roads? You have the roads to ensure that people can move from one place to another, or can they move their goods from one place to another. So if we look at this issue of road safety from a mobility point of view, then you'll start looking at questions like, how do we make this make it easier to move people and goods from one place to another? How the road is used by people. I mean, think about it. You're driving down a road, there is a bus. The bus never stays in its lane. It just stops anywhere. You have auto rickshaws which just start parking anywhere, even at turnings, and decide that's their stop. So clearly there is a problem of not just of design, which road design is a big issue, people's responsibility. Why do people get drunk and get into a car and drive it? And
the pedestrians don't get there right away. That is why the resultant deaths and accidents.
Why do you design a road whereby the traffic signal is about like a kilometer from each other, forcing pedestrians to walk extra in a primarily hot country. Then they will start walking, crossing at any point. That's not safe for either the pedestrian or for any other road user. So we have to rethink this whole issue of roads and road safety from a mobility point of view.
Okay.
How do we ensure people and goods can move better, faster and safer?
Okay, definitely. Mr. Singh wants to add something to it when, the mobility aspect.
The issue is very clear. Mr. Murugan mentioned about that we can reduce the fatality by, if not 50%, by 25% in next 1 decade. Let us accept his numbers, Here, the deterrent issue which was talked by you, because since most of the accidents are taking place on highways more than the cities, where the traffic is cramped, So what happens is we have to ensure that the commercial vehicle owner which commits the accident, instead of putting a penalty on him, of cash penalty, you should suspend their permit, their license, so that they are immobile and they are not able to commit the offence repeatedly.
Okay.
That is one way of looking at the how to create a deterrent over there.
Okay.
The second part of the whole issue is the insurance companies, tire companies, oil companies. We have vehicle manufacturers. All are beneficiary to the road growth, road transport growth. But what is their contribution in road safety? Now insurance company takes premium from me, but when they collect entire premium, what they spend on the road safety? We don't see anything worthwhile. So question is, when we expect the common citizen to improve his behavior, which is most important, we also want that the corporates and the big agencies, they should come forward, put money and experts into the road safety measurement, so that what is happening internationally, we should be comparable only when what these companies are doing in their own country.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all stakeholders will have to go ahead and put their best foot forward there. Let me bring Mr. Bahadur here. Mr. Bahadur, both these aspects, one, as Mr. Singh is pointing out, that all stakeholders will need to go ahead and contribute that road safety to that road safety campaign. Second is what Urmi was talking about in terms of looking at this entire issue from the mobility perspective. Then only we might be able to go ahead and solve the basic problem, the basic sufferers which are there, pedestrians, cyclists, motorcyclists.
Before I answer to your point, I would like to say one thing, and that may some way answer Dr. Velumurugan's also. The international experience has shown that it takes about 10 years time to really give you results of some actions taken towards road safety. Unfortunately, we have to some extent realized the importance of it, but not to the extent as we should have. So 10 years is the time for which we would need to wait. This is one point. Second point is that we also need to change our whole approach and attitude in terms of actually road safety up till now, even now, we think it's a transportation issue, whereas it is a public health issue. So we have to recognize this, that it is a public health issue and has to deal it in a dedicated task force manner, as we do for AIDS or malaria or Swachh Bharat or something like that. So unless we take a view on that part of it, it will take more time than what it should be.
Okay.
Another point about mobility, I would just simply want to, I would not say, the road has two basic functions. One is the accessibility and the other is the mobility. When we talk of mobility, we basically talk of high category roads like national highways and state highways. What she meant was even the lower category roads, even our urban roads. Say for example, pedestrians, we expect more pedestrians on urban roads. And that is where I think we need to sort of modify our thinking. World over, the roads are designed for all categories of intended users. Even so much so that if a lady with a perambulator is to use that road, the road sidewalks have to be designed accordingly. But unfortunately, we are yet to reach that state, especially in urban roads. Even what pains me to some extent is that majority of our cities, even the second tier and third tier cities, have either doubled or tripled. And all the new development is as chaotic as the old one. without caring for all categories of road users.
Okay.
So, unless we sort of change our way of we approach the whole thing, it's going to take time.
The planning will have to be, looked at from a different angle. Dr. Murugan, would you agree to this aspect? Because, as Mr. Bahadur is pointing out, in terms of planning, it needs to be done from the perspective of all kind of users specifically. And that includes not only pedestrians, but also cyclists, motorcyclists, those who can, walk maybe difficultly.
Yeah. Especially from that angle, even if the crash rates which are happening in metropolitan cities due to this, they are called the vulnerable road users. Basically, the people who are using the road in the form of who are exposed directly to the traffic, starting from a pedestrian, cyclist, or even for that matter, the motorized two-wheelers. They are coming under that vulnerable road user category. That their deaths happening on the any sort of, whether it's from a megapolis like Delhi, right up to if you go to a 3-tier city, their rate of deaths happening on their thing is between 70 to 90%. So, that is why you need that particular section of the thing to be addressed. Unless otherwise, especially in urban roads. In urban roads, we need to give the top priority to these vulnerable road users. So, there should be a clear-cut case for them to be provided wherever possible. If you are providing, say for example, for a pedestrian to cross, as was already pointed out, that they should be allowed to cross at grade. If you allow them to do a at grade crossing, you need to provide adequate safety speed restraint measures in the form of speed tables, so that the people who are crossing the road, they will be in flush with the road, they will be there. At the same time, they will feel assured in making the crossing without getting entangled in a road crash.
Okay.
That is important
Okay,
part.
Urmi, two aspects here. You started with the mobility aspect, and Mr. Bahadur explained that particular point of view. But what Mr. Singh is also saying, in terms of all stakeholders, need to go ahead and put their best foot forward. One, and it's not only about just the policy or the planning, or a standalone awareness in terms of public awareness, but an amalgamation of all these.
Of course, it's this is as Mr. Bahadur pointed out, it's a public health issue. It's a mobility issue. It's a public health issue, and we often forget it's also an economic issue. I mean, the road crashes, fatalities, and injuries together shave off about 3% of GDP. So yes, it is a huge problem. Now, every stakeholder needs to come in, but to put it slightly differently, we can hold car manufacturers responsible and find them, get them into this fray of road safety. You can have oil companies, insurers also to do it. But I still come back to the fact that it's at the policy level and at the road design level that a huge amount of the responsibility lies. You have to design your roads in a manner that every user, actually let me rephrase that, the most vulnerable user feels safe, because if the most vulnerable user is safe, then those who are better protected will also be safe.
Okay.
It also requires citizens to be much more responsible about their usage. It requires and when I mean citizens, of course, all company owners are also citizens. So therefore, I mean it across the board. It also requires for us, when we change our roles from, say, a pedestrian to a car driver, or to somebody sitting on a bus, or maybe somebody working in an insurance company, to take that sensibility from one experience to another. We can't pretend that just because you don't use one mode of transport at this point, that safety no longer matters to you, or somehow protected. That doesn't work. But I think at the end of the day, it might be a quick fix, or one of the biggest things that comes is when people start realizing the impact of these accidents. When we focus on fatalities, which is pretty high. India accounts for some 11% of the fatalities, global fatalities. But we are not talking about injuries, and those. I mean, imagine a family with an injured person who has had an injury in a car crash, or has been hit by a bus or anything. I mean, their lives are changed forever. Their contribution to our society changes drastically. It is till we realize that each one of us have the ability to actually take measures that make us safer
Okay.
and others safer, we won't get anywhere.
Okay, so that practically sums up the aspect. Yes, Mr. Singh, concluding comments. from
Today, I am giving you today's example on National Highway number 1 on GT Karnal Road and another highway which is Badalpur Mathura Road Highway. There is a ban on e-rickshaws to be operated on that, and e-rickshaws are operating without traffic police interfering in it. So traffic management is very clear that the e-rickshaw is most vulnerable on the highway.
Okay.
And we are so careless today.
And
when
there are passengers in every e-rickshaw out there.
and
so-
incidentally, those e-rickshaws are overloaded also. So we have to see that when we talk of 10-year plan, we should be able to do certain things which are low-hanging fruits.
such
They
as,
should be
such as
done
traffic
immediately.
management.
Yeah, traffic
and
management.
that's definitely one of the low-hanging fruits. Mr. Bahadur, concluding comments from you.
I think up till now we have talked about the sort of problematic issues. Let's say what's the way forward.
Way forward, solutions.
Yeah. So first of all, as the first item here in the goal is to have an action plan. And world over, there is a road safety is given top priority. Even the level of Prime Minister, it is headed by many of the countries of those. Even the President is also equally feel responsible about road safety in many countries. So we'll have to do that. First and second thing is have to have a dedicated agency. Unless we have that sort of a dedicated agency, I mean road safety is of course, it's a multi-sectoral issue. So it has to be done like that. Third thing is, it has to be dealt in a mission mode as we have done, say for example, AIDS, malaria and tuberculosis. Similarly, unless we put a real focus. Last point is the what you call manpower.
Okay.
I think we need to, say for example, driving licensing system, even professional competence of the people who are responsible for the design, professional competence of the people who are in charge of the operating the roads in terms of traffic management, etc., etc. So all these things, and for my, I mean, as per based on my experience, I feel we also look into our teaching institutions.
Okay.
Where the even at the graduate level, this issue gets a little more focused than what it is getting now.
And that is where the awareness aspect is taken
Yeah, it
care
will
of
take
out
care
there.
of it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bahadur, Mr. Singh, Dr. Murugan, and Urmi out there. So there it is, as our panelists are pointing out, as far as road safety is concerned, this is an issue which needs to be looked at in a holistic perspective with all stakeholders putting their best foot forward, and needs to be tackled in a mission mode so that all the aspects can be looked into both in terms of planning, policy, public awareness, as well as deterrence for those who flout the norms. We'll come back again tomorrow with a different topic. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.